Hey guys, it's Crystal from Silhouette for Lasers. I had another question in my group from one of my students, so I wanted to quickly show you how to make a 2-word keychain with an offset. You'll have to forgive my voice. I am struggling with asthma and allergies and all the things, but I wanted to push this out real quick because I feel like it will help a lot of people. So let's get started. So we're going to choose our text over here on the left-hand side. I'm going to click on the screen, and the 2-word keychain she was doing was vet tech. So I'm just going to go ahead and type that out. You can either click off of this square, or when you're in here, make sure to highlight it before going to change your font. So now I'm going to go to the text style panel. I think the one that's similar to what she was using was similar to this. So let's just do that one. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to select everything, give it a black fill so we can see it a little bit easier. Remove the red line. Now we want to add an offset. So we're going to select offset from the offset panel. And as you can see, the trouble she was running into was because it's a 2-word offset that she's doing, a 2-word keychain, they weren't connecting. So there's a couple ways that you can fix this. So you can either ungroup the vet tech word and nudge them closer together, and then this offset will overlap so that it makes one keychain, although that would potentially leave a thin piece here that I feel, especially because it's a keychain, it's gonna easily catch on things, and it will make it kind of a point that could lend to breakage. So another way you can do it as well is making the offset bigger without nudging those together. So over here, the default offset size is 0.125 inches. So I'm going to bump that up to, let's say, 1.5, and it just barely overlaps. So 0.175. There we go. Again, I personally would close this path, and I can show you how to do that after. But I'm going to first go ahead and ungroup these words and then nudge them a little bit closer and then mess with the offsets. So I'm going to click cancel, select this, and go to ungroup. Then I'm going to group both, group the words together, and that was... I probably should tell you how I'm doing that, right? So I click in the top left and drag with my left mouse key selected, and that selects everything, kind of in my path. And then on the keyboard, so I can either hit right click and group, but I typically do Control G. Of course. Control G. There we go. So now I'm going to select tech, nudge that in a little bit more. Now, if we select offset, there we go, it overlaps. So that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and do that size of an offset, the 0.125. And then now we're going to go in and make some adjustments. So I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to right click, release compound path. And the reason I'm doing that is because I personally do not like these little small leftover cutouts that are left after some offsets. So I always go in and delete those. So I'm going to select Shift and click on the line I want to keep. And then that leaves just those inside lines. If you had several, they'd all be selected. But since there's only one, So I'm going to click delete. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to thicken this part here so that this isn't a point that's easily going to be broken with keychains. So I'm going to double click to open the node editing panel. I'm going to select this one, because it's heading to the left. As you see, I clicked on this node right here. So, and it's highlighted this line to the left. So when I hit delete, that's the direction it's going to go in. So let's delete. And honestly, that looks good to me. You could mess with it here and kind of make this flush here. It really just depends on the look that you're going for. So I think this looks good. Now we're going to go ahead and add our keychain hole. So I'm going to group this, and then we're going to check our sizing. So this is about 1 inch wide by 3 inches long. And that's actually a pretty decent size for a keychain. It will also mean that these letters aren't too small, but I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, probably 2.5 to 2.75, so that it's not too big on their keys. And to do that, I'm going to go over here to the transform panel, click on this icon here, which is scale. I'm going to lock this, the aspect ratio, and then I'm going to change the width in this case, which is actually technically the length of the keychain, and change it to 2.75. And I think that's good. We don't want to go too small because, again, it will make these letters kind of small and thin, but I think that's good. So now let's add our keychain hole. So if you purchase my Keychain Thingies, I always recommend a 0.19 inch hole. So I just make a random hole, random circle, and then I'm going to select that and then change it to the size I need, also in the transform panel that we still have up. And change this to 0.19, not 49. Fat fingers. There we go. And then I always add a 1/4 inch offset. So I'm going to keep that keychain hole selected, click on offset, and there we go. So now I'm going to select them both, drag it down to where I want it. So we can either put it in the middle, we can put it on one side or the other. I think I'm going to put it in approximately the middle. So I'm going to select all of it, and then go up to the centering tools, and then I'm going to align middle. There we go. And then now we are going to weld this shape to VetTech. But first I need to ungroup this because my letters are grouped in. I can go ahead and show you what will happen if we don't. So I'm selecting the outside offset, which is basically the cushion around the hole to make sure that also isn't prone to breakage. And then our VetTech shape, if we right click and weld, it's not what we wanted. So I'm going to undo that. And then we're going to ungroup this first. There we go. And then now we're going to drag and select the two offset shapes that we want to weld together. Then right click, weld, and there you go. So a couple other things that I would do if I'm preparing this file to be complete and me use regularly, I would then select these two offset, or these two cut lines, sorry, the red lines, and I would make them a compound path so that I can't easily accidentally move my keychain design and forget to move the keychain hole, which I need to stay right there. And then I'll also go ahead and group the two words together, but then I'm going to add a line color, which is red, and that because that's my cut color. And then I'm going to remove the fill, and then I'm going to copy and paste. So Control C, Control V, and I'm going to put this aside. And then now for the keychain shape, so this is going to be the backer, right? I'm going to select VetTech, and I'm going to actually do an internal offset. And I usually do 0.010. Apply. I'm going to change the color to blue. And so let me move this red one. Oh, no, undo. Zoom in and remove the red line that we don't need anymore, so delete. Okay. And so what this does is this is a guide, so I know exactly where to put each of these letters once I cut them out. So say we fill this with black again. When you cut vet tech, it's going to be a little bit thinner than what you see here due to kerf. And that's also the reason why I made the offset 0.010 smaller, so that when you cut it, you don't have to be, so that when you apply the letters, you don't have to be 100% exact. If you don't do an internal offset, even if you are 100% exact, it will show a little bit due to kerf. So if we layer this over, you'll see your score line is gone. And then that'll just help you line everything up. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the fill on this again. And to save on materials, I would actually ungroup this all the way. Oops. Okay. And then I would nudge all of this stuff super close together. Obviously not too close, so that you cause like any overlap or anything like that, because you don't want to get too close, especially if you're cutting in acrylic. But we will kind of do some overlap here. It doesn't have to be exact, because again, you're applying these after the fact, so it doesn't matter what it looks like when you cut it. There you go. And you could even do something like this, depending on, put the H here, depending on what kind of space you're trying to fit this all in. There you go. That's how my final file would look if I was making a vet tech keychain. I hope this was helpful. Make sure to join my free Facebook group called Silhouette for Lasers, and also check out my course if you would like more instruction. I have a 5-week online course at silhouetteforlasers.com. I'm always here to help. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way you see all the content that I will be posting throughout the year. And I'm always open to suggestions. If you have any videos that you would like to see, make sure to put those in the comments. And otherwise, I will see you in the groups. Have a good week. Bye.